come down. Good morning. This is the BLAINESWORLD webcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can also get more information, listen to previous shows at our website, which is behind me, blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield. I'm here in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. And each week, we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And to that end, it's my pleasure to introduce Kevin Rumley, I think I have it, who's the Veteran Court Coordinator, is it? Veterans Court, what's the official title?
Hey, the Veterans Treatment Court Director.
Veterans Court Director, and that's for Buncombe County or is Western North Carolina?
Yep, it's for Buncombe County, but we'll take veterans from all of North Carolina.
Cool. And Kevin, I know you've been doing that for a while, but I actually come on board tonight to talk about something completely different. So we're not going to talk about that job. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. We're going to talk a little bit about the fact that you're also, I guess, in your spare time, a musician.
Yeah, I'm a musician too. The hair gives it away.
Is it really? Well, I'm amazed. I asked you off the air though, but when you were doing the music, when you were in the service, they kind of frowned upon the hair.
It's funny, Blaine. They didn't let the hair slide in the Marine Corps. In fact, it was the first thing they got rid of. They took away my hair, and then the Marine Corps took away my name too. They call you recruit. You
Oh,
don't
is that
even
it?
get called by your name. Yep.
Okay. But talk a little bit about music. So you told me off the air again that you've been a musician or playing music since you were in fifth grade, was it?
Oh yeah, I've been playing music since I was just a little child. I have an older brother. He plays every instrument. And so when he was in the sixth grade, I was in the fourth grade. He got his first guitar. And so I was always sitting next to him, banging on stuff and wanting to be part of the music he was making. So I think early on, my parents recognized I had a propensity for music and drumming. And then just singing in, the church choir as a kid and continuing on. And then I ended up, yeah, doing like marching band, symphonic band, jazz band, diving really deep into kind of the art of music. But I started when I was a young kid.
But when you were a young kid, so mostly it was in the percussion area. You started out initially with drums.
Yeah, exactly. So I started out focusing on the drums. I did um, marching snare. So I was the
Right.
snare. You can see them walking, and then learned symphonic. I learned timpanis and marimbas and chimes and bells. That was also my introduction, probably to reading music. Because before, anyone, well, not anyone, I say anyone can be a drummer if you can count to four.
Okay.
If you can count to four, you can be a drummer. But I really wanted to learn music and learn how to read it. And so that was probably in the eighth grade when I started to learn how to read music and kind of know what each one of these wild dots on this graph mean.
What was the first time you had a drum set? Remember your first drum set?
Yeah, my first drum set, I was in the sixth grade. And Blaine, I actually still have that drum set. It was a really amazing tama, a wooden tama. And my mom got it for me. And, I had all these ridiculous cymbals that sounded awful, but I liked them because they looked cool. And I had this wooden drum set. And I remember thinking, wait, this isn't bright pink or purple, kind of like all my favorite drummers. This is just a nice wooden bass drum that she found used somewhere. Fast forward, it's not until 20 years later that I come to appreciate how amazing this first ever drum set was. And I'm glad it wasn't bright pink or purple like all my friends had.
Now, also, when you were again the drum set, did you also get a cowbell?
Oh, you got to have cowbell. Yes. Now, I should say, growing up in a musical house, it's one thing to have a guitar player because you can turn down the guitar amp. But
Right.
with a drummer, it's harder to turn down the drummer. So my dad actually, with my grandfather, they built this entire soundproofed room, and it had all these moving blankets, and behind it were all these stuffing pads, and it was incredible. You truly could block out all the sound, and you would, they'd come in and open the door saying it's time for dinner, and they'd just be blasted with sound. Uh,
But I can't believe your dad did that for you. And that's pretty cool. How old were you when that was done?
yeah, I was in middle school, so seventh or eighth grade, and I mean, partially because he loved us so much, partially because he probably loved his peace and quiet more.
Okay. Now, when was the first time you were ever in a band of your own other than school?
First time was, let's see, my older brother and I have played in bands forever, him and I together. And we played our first show together. I was in the sixth grade, and it was at this local club. And I mean, they're serving beer and everything. And I'm this little sixth grader walking in with my drum set and my sticks. And I can barely see over the drum set, but I'm rocking and rolling with my older brother. And it was a blast. So we
Now,
were little kids.
did you get paid for that?
Oh, yeah. I got
Yeah.
paid probably $20.
Now, I'm looking. I don't see it in your hanging from your wall or the picture framed. I don't see the $20 bill on the wall.
I know. I know. I know. I should frame it. I should have. I immediately spent it on sugar.
I was going to say that. I was going to say for other drums or other music. That's pretty cool. Sixth grade. Now, you also, at that time, did you ever get any lessons?
Yep. Yeah. So I was able to get lessons from a young age. That was another thing I'm really grateful for. My mother not only encouraged us to pursue it, but really challenged us to go further and challenge us by supporting us with instructors and different educators who really, yeah, because I'd be all too happy to just get home from school and skateboard and then drum for 5 minutes, but there was something about constantly being challenged on the drums and having drum lessons that I was going to. So I had those growing up for sure.
Now, you were telling me you did play in school bands, right? Or different
Yeah.
bands, stuff like that. But you were also doing on your own, you were having your own bands or in your own bands?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a constant in my life since the sixth grade. So even though I'm in school, I'm also in a band at the same time. Seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, I joined and we started two different bands in high school. So I'm going through high school doing all this stuff, but I also have a band on the side called Bandazian. And then the only time really I wasn't playing music was when I joined the Marine Corps. So music was always been an integral part of my life. Then I joined the United States Marines and I'm sent to Iraq, and then I get blown up. And so it was a period of about 2 years where I didn't get to play any music. I hadn't touched really any instruments. So it was a really big deal when my buddies from my high school band came to Walter Reed.
Very cool.
They got permission to take me out of the hospital. They put me in a wheelchair and they wheeled me home, and they had orchestrated with my family. They moved the drum set to the living room where it was a flat entrance, and they carted me up, and I had stitches and all this stuff, and they gave me drumsticks, and I was able to just hit them for the first time, and instantly it felt like life was coming back to me.
I'm getting chilled just listening to the story. It's almost too bad. It almost sounds like it's too bad. They tape that or they have a tape of that reunion coming?
Gosh, that would have been amazing. No, I don't. This is pre Instagram and social media.
But it just sounds like something I would have loved to see on YouTube. Or
Yeah.
we could have you recreate it, or when they do your life story. It's a great, great story. So you're out of commission, you weren't playing for 2 years, then you came back and sort of all came back to you.
Yeah, I'd say the drumming all came back to me instantly. I mean, it's like riding a bike. It's just part of you, same as conversation is. That's kind of what drums are to me. And so, yeah, immediately I started playing music with a bunch of bands. So anyone that needed a drummer, I'd raise my hand and say, yes, count me in. I was playing drums for a group called Stephanie's Id. When I first moved to Asheville, they had a big festival called Id Fest in downtown Asheville, and it was a blast. Um, and even when I've been in active addiction and my lowest points, I've still have been playing music. It truly is this one constant in my life. Uh, and it's carried me through a lot of dark times.
Now, what was interesting about your background, you were telling me not only playing drums, but you also picked up other instruments you started playing.
Yeah, so I was probably maybe during the pandemic.
Right.
During the pandemic is when I started to tinker around with keyboards. I have a keyboard called a Mellotron, and it has like 300 different instruments on this little mini keyboard. And so you can change it and select it, and um, but it has a vinyl recording quality of these. So it may have horns or it may have a choir
Right.
vocals. So I started playing with this Mellotron, and I mean, I'll tell you, I'm not Mozart when it comes to playing or singing, but there's just something incredibly freeing about the process. So next thing I know, during the pandemic, I would write these things on the Mellotron. I'd record it, and so I have that playing, and then I'd say, well, I've got a drum set here. Why don't I add drums to this little keyboard thing I did? So I would just turn around, drum something out, and I said, this is almost starting to sound like a song. What it needs now is vocals. So then I would just start singing, and next thing you know, I've got a song here. But there are also limitations, right? So I don't know how to truly play the guitar on a professional level, and that's where all the years of playing with other musicians came in handy because then I could call them and say, "Hey, I've got this song. It's got everything already recorded, the drums, the keys, the bass, but it needs something else. It needs pedal steel guitar, or it needs electric guitar." And so they could come over and knock it out in 10 minutes.
Now, this whole playing that instrument, so this was all self-taught?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's just incredible. So all of a sudden, now you're doing music, but you create, I guess, your each song you play, you create kind of your own band.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just start stacking one instrument at a time. Sometimes Blaine, I'll start with a drum beat. So I'll just be in the drums. So I'm just recording that. All right. Well, now I've got a drum take. Then I'm thinking, maybe I need some horns. So I'll spin around to my Mellotron and just play the horn. And you see it just starts going, and then I'm like, I need bass. Boom, right?
Even on that, then you're saying you bring in people, but could you just use this without bringing in people?
Yeah, and I have done that. There's just I gotta be honest, the level of musicianship in this town is unreal that I I mean it's also kind of part of the fun for me is to write these two chord ditties and then get someone who I'm just a big fan of to come and play ideas that I hear in my head but I can't perform.
Now, in terms of the ideas in your head, is this something now you do every day? Like some writers, for example, I don't know if musicians do this, but they get up like every morning at 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock and write for 2 hours, 3 hours. Do you do that every day?
Every day.
No, do you really?
Yep. So I probably have, I don't know, 400 songs, but those are, I would use air quotes, right? Because that would imply
Right.
that they're good. These are more just kind of emotions. I have 400 recordings where I'll go downstairs and be like, oh, this is kind of a vibe. I like this vibe. And I'll
And
just push record.
how about with the words? How many of the 400 have words to them?
Oh, I'd say maybe 50 of them. Because that's the other thing is I am usually focusing first on the melody the rhythm. Like if I were to take away the singing completely, would it still be an engaging song? And so for me, the last thing I usually add are lyrics, which is the opposite of any musician you ever talk to. They always start with the lyrics and then build from there, like Elton John and all the greats. Not this guy.
So on the lyrics, and that's what I was asking you, is that something you do every day, or I was saying, are you regimented to the point you get up and actually do this stuff every day?
Yeah, not on the lyrics,
Right.
just the music side. Like I'm gonna head home in a little bit from work and I'm gonna go to the basement. I'm just gonna start playing around on the keyboard and then I'm gonna start drumming. And I just do that every single day. And most of them are ideas that I crumple up and throw in the trash can. But when it comes to writing lyrics, no, I'm not. That's not my primary outlet. I've never considered myself especially gifted when it comes to writing lyrics.
Have you had other people write lyrics for you?
No, no, I do more of mantras actually. So I can show you a song, but the only lyrics in it are, quote, "You're giving me light. You're giving me light."
Well, go for it. Can I hear it?
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Sure. Here, I'll share one with you. This one is called, I'm going to share computer
Okay.
audio, and then I'm going to share my screen. All right, I'm going to share that.
There you go. Good.
All right.
Good
Let me
job.
know if you see this,
I see it. Yep. There you go.
and let me know if you hear this. Do you hear it?
I don't hear it yet. Let's see. I'm not hearing
You
anything.
hear that?
Nope. Is there a way, can you do it so you share to the screen? And I can hear, you can hear it?
I can hear it, but you don't hear the sound?
No, but why
All
don't I
right.
do this, Kevin? So why don't I just pause this a second? Hi, Blaine Greenfield again with Kevin Rumley. And we're talking about some of the music he has written. And Kevin, you were in the process of trying to show me something, and I think we worked out all the technical difficulties. So I'll give it back to you. Go ahead.
Awesome. We'll see if this works. So I was sharing how when I write lyrics, A, I'm not really good at it, but B, I'll just focus on a phrase and repeat it over and over. And so this is an example of that. The lyrics are, "You're giving me light." It's a song called Ohio Pile, a nice little camping place I grew up going to.
Okay. Music sounds good. Yeah, and come on back to me because I have some questions on that. Now that was incredible. That sounded like a whole orchestra you had there with you.
Right?
People. That was just you and this device.
That's me in the basement, and then I got some help. So I was able to take all of my basement recording. So I did the keyboard, I did the horns, I did all this stuff, and I then took it to my friend Julie, and I had all my vocals. I'm singing. I said, "Hey, Julie Odell is her name. She's amazing." I said, "I would love for you to sing with me to make it sound like a choir of people." So she's on that, and you can hear there's my vocals and her vocals at the same time, and it just kind of sounds like kids shouting. Giving me light.
Now I'm listening to that because just listen to it. It sounds that should be a song though too. You said you only have simple words, but I love the sound. It sounds it will eventually be a full song.
Oh, that is the song. That's
Oh,
released and out there in the world.
just that's the only word. So
Yeah.
okay, so that's very cool. And you say it's released to the world. How do people find it if they want to listen to it?
Yeah, if people are interested, they can, however they listen to music, they can find it on Apple, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube, Gizmo, Quizmo, uh, any Jersey subs.
And
And just look up my name. Yep, Kevin Rumley.
now, do you also have a website?
Yep, you can go to kevinrumley.com.
Okay, and
So
is it
that's,
go
yeah,
ahead, go.
KEVINRUMLEY.com. And you can stream all my music there. And check out, we've got vinyl records. Those are back.
I hear, yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it's wild. So it's a lot of fun. I'm just kind of content. I don't play out that much. I don't aspire to go on a global tour. I just kind of have fun making music in the basement, and if it can bring a smile to someone's face, then that's a win.
Very cool. So, which is, I think, unusual in the sense that, so you have no desire, even down the road, to tour or play with a band or go around all over the world and perform?
Well, I'd be happy to travel around the world in another band,
Yeah.
but I don't know. There's something special about making these songs, releasing them. It's almost like a journal. So every one of the songs and the titles and the lyrics have something to do with something I was going through that day or something I'm working through in my life. So sometimes it's been uh, like the lyrics from this one were me reflecting on my mother who passed away when I was young. I was 15, but one of our favorite places to go camping together was this Ohio Pile State Park. And so that was kind of the inspiration. So in a way, even if I don't travel the world playing these, it's cool to just have a little memento and a snapshot in time.
I have to ask you, you mentioned you're going to go home tonight and play some. Also, um, is at home, is your home padded like you were as a kid? Do you have padding all over the basement and so nobody else can listen? Is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, is it really?
It
It,
is. Yeah,
it,
it's soundproof. It's got everything. It's got the drums, guitars hanging. It's pretty awesome.
oh, so you're not playing at the same place when you were a kid. This is your own place now?
Yeah, I grew up in Fairfax, Virginia.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of a lot of the studio design is very similar to what my dad did. It's just hanging stuff on the wall, moving blankets, and um,
Well, it's very cool. Paul, your neighbors appreciate it though, too, though, right? Because when you're performing or playing, nobody can hear you.
exactly. Blaine, that's why I do it. Hey, it may not be my parents anymore. It's the neighbors now.
But also, I always wonder, especially the drummer, um, when you were a kid even, and it wasn't popular then, were you using earplugs or do you use earplugs now?
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
What's that? No,
Did
I'm joking. I use these headphones
right.
so they kind of protect it and let the right amount through, but I do have hearing loss. I have hearing loss from when I was blown up and being in the Marine Corps and just being around, the 249 automatic weapon that I was firing is really loud. And then being in bands. So yeah, right here, I've got a lot of hearing loss,
Because
but
when in
I
bands, I
protect it.
guess, at the time, they didn't have earplugs, so they didn't, a lot of people didn't use them, I guess.
Oh, that makes sense.
You're right. Because that just became, I don't know, popular maybe 20 years ago or whatever. But when you were a kid, when you first started playing drums, nobody thought of having you have earplugs.
Never. No, I mean, I bet I bet my mom probably said, you need to put some cotton in those ears or something because it was loud. But Yeah, I bet the technology's really improved.
But you still, even still, when you play though, you still have you wear a headset?
Um, when I'm recording, I do, but when I'll play out with other bands, because how it's set up, the drums are the very back, and then all the amps are in front blasting out. So in a way, I'm kind of my position advantages me that I'm not getting blasted straight at my face like the audience. So audience members probably lose their hearing quicker than I do.
Now, what's interesting, I find, is your kind of goal with this. So your goal, you were telling me, is not to necessarily play in lots of different bands, but you want to just create the music yourself. And I guess in essence, each time you're creating your own band kind of thing. Is that what you're sort of doing?
Exactly, 100%. I mean, that's the nail on the head is it's just so fun to get together with musicians that I look up to and kind of present them, hey, here is this painting, this black and white painting, right? And it's everything that I wanted. Here's the mountains, here's, the shoreline so they can see it, but it's only in black and white. And so I'll then bring in artists who can sprinkle in color and just take it to a whole new level.
Had some of them perhaps never done this before, or is this something that a lot of guys, gals, will also try for the first time with you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's the community of musicians in Asheville is, I mean, it's amazing. It's a really dynamic community that has so many different talents. And I may ask someone to come record on a song I have, and then 3 months later, they may call me and say, hey, would you be willing to come drum on this song that I have? Or so it's kind of organic like that.
And have you done that? You
Oh, yeah.
other places, people's songs?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It happens a lot. It's kind of that just the culture of the community is helping one another out, and I'm really good at drums, but not good at guitar, right? So then maybe my guitar friend says, hey, I'm really good at guitar, but not really good at the drums. Could you come over and make it better?
and by the way, keep me in mind, if you ever need a kazoo player, I'm your guy, the kazoo.
Playing, come on. Yes, I'm going to be calling you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me put you on the spot. You mentioned, give me another sample of something you've done if you can.
Yeah, sure. Here is a song. It's called Eyes, and it is um, one of my recent ones. Here we go. Let's see if this plays.
Got it. Very cool. So that we had a whole, you not only had the song, but you created a video for it as well.
Yeah, I created a little video. That was just 60 seconds of this longer song. So that was kind of the end where it gets loud. It's kind of hard to hear on Zoom, but yeah, just created a little video using drone footage.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
is that something you're going to be doing more and more of? You're going to be doing music and then creating videos on it?
Hey, I think a lot of this, Blaine, is just trial and error. I'm trying stuff, no reason not to. And yeah, I do love flying a drone. So the more drone footage I can get, the better.
Where do you see this taking you, Kevin? Where do you want to go with this?
I would love for my music to be in skateboard videos or like maybe appropriate for the movies or something. Just kind of background. My
Were you
goal is to make it into skateboard videos, though.
were you a skateboarder?
I was until I was blown up.
Huh. So
Yeah.
you don't skateboard anymore. I didn't know there was such a thing as skateboard videos. There are though.
Yeah. They're the the most amazing thing. I mean, there's skateboarding has really blown up as a an industry and a passion. It's billion-dollar industry. And there are different companies that make skateboards, and they'll release a music video to promote their skateboard and to promote the people who are on their team. It's basically the equivalent of like a football team or soccer team.
Yeah.
And they release these skateboard videos, but an important part of the video is also the music they choose. And so for me, that's everything. If you can get into a skateboard video part, then whew.
Have you approached any of these companies yet?
Yes, so I'm actively reaching out, and I had my the first song we played, Ohio Pile,
Right.
made it into one skater's kind of highlight reel, so that was a huge honor.
Okay, very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
folks that want to get in touch with you, I guess for a couple of different kinds of reasons, but one in terms of your music, what's the best bet?
Yeah, definitely. Probably the best is just go to the website, kevinrumley.com, KevinRumley.com. You can reach me anytime through the link there, the connect link, and then yeah, you can find me on Tidal, Spotify, Apple Music, or Bandcamp under Kevin Rumley.
Okay, just look under your last name, you'll find you.
That's it. Yep.
Anyway, this is really cool, Kevin. I'd like thank you for being my guest this edition of the webcast. And like I said before, someday we'll actually get to meet in person. And thank you.
Yes.
This was a lot of fun. Appreciate you.
Hey, thank you so much, Glenn.